What's up, my dudes? Haiden Deegan, 2023 Pro Motocross. How is he gonna do? That's what this video is all about right here. Be sure and let me know down in the comments how you guys think that Deegan's going to do in his first full Pro Motocross series. I know this is going to be a really big talking point right now. There's going to be some people that's going to think he's going to go out there and absolutely dominate and, you know, be running with the fastest dudes in that ship. There's going to be some people that's going to think he's probably going to be like a 5th to 10th place kind of guy. Yeah, so the last time we saw Deegan on Pro Motocross, it wasn't so hot. If you guys don't remember that first race that he had, he absolutely wadded his shit up in the, I think it was Iron Man. He tried to jump some weird little triple jump type thing and went, you know, end over end, absolutely ruined the bike. So that was kind of a weird first pro race for Deegan. And then we get to his second pro motocross race last year. I think he ended up like 9th or something like that, 9th or 10th. I can't remember exactly, but it was just kind of not really that good of a showing of Deegan, I felt like, at the very beginning. Now that he's gotten all the way through the weird Supercross Futures race that he had, and he finally got into the Pro Supercross, then we started to get to see a little bit more of the actual Haiden Deegan in pro racing. So I would have to assume he's going to be better than the weird outdoor couple rounds that he had last year. I would have to assume he's going to be better than that, but it's all in how much better than that is he really going to be. You know, I don't let the hype levels like really trick up my mind with any of these riders. I try to keep everything as level-headed as possible. Yeah, Deegan did pretty good in his first Supercross, you know, championship. He ended up second in points, I believe. You know, I don't think he just did downright absolutely, you know, Adam Cianciarulo level legendary amazing in his first pro Supercross season. I don't necessarily think that. I just think he did pretty good. You know, he did have a lot of hype coming into it. He did have a lot of crashes. I feel like he got pretty lucky on a lot of those not to get hurt or injured. His whole entire situation could be a different story right now had he not rolled off of the bike as good as he did in all of those crashes that he had in Supercross. But as far as outdoors, you know, it's kind of like you're going to be adding a little bit of competition, but you're also going to be taking away a little bit of competition because Jet Lawrence is going to 450 class, and I know he wasn't on the same coast as Deegan, but still for the two shootout races, Lawrence is in there against Deegan. So, but you are going to have that combination of both the East and West in outdoors. You guys know how they don't split that up for pro motocross. So I think it's going to be a little bit more tricky for Deegan to just consistently like finish on the podium, Spency Boy all over the place. I think it is going to be a little bit more tricky for him to do that. I definitely think he can get on the podium, you know, for sure. I think it is going to be a little bit of a learning curve in outdoors. It's going to be a little bit of a, because I think Deegan's always been a little bit more focused on Supercross. If you've been following any of their stuff, if you've been, bro, I can't get around the track, apparently. I'm going to crash more than Deegan out here, bro. Shit, bro. Spency Boy out here trying to play the game while he's talking. That's always fun. But yeah, I felt like Deegan was always kind of more into the Supercross thing. Like if you go and look at some of the stuff, like Brian Deegan always talked about, like, we're really trying to get prepared, you know, for Supercross, and he had the different Supercross tracks built in his backyard, you know, since the time he came out the womb. I just, you know, even Brian Deegan himself has said there's always been, you know, more of that focus put on Supercross from the very beginning, it seems like. So it's not like I think he's going to do terrible in outdoors, but I don't think he's going to do like what some of you boys are thinking he's going to do. I really don't. You got Joe Shimoda going back in there. He was pretty good in outdoors last year. You still got Hunter Lawrence in there. You know, you got all them other star Yamaha boys still in there. You know, there's going to be some competition there, bro. I mean, there just ain't no doubt about that, I feel like. Differently than specifically Haiden Deegan's coast on Supercross, I mean, there was a lot of times where Haiden Deegan finished on the podium in Supercross, and I looked at the people that finished behind him, and they were basically nobodies. They were basically absolutely nobodies. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. There was a lot of nobodies finishing behind Haiden Deegan in Supercross. So I think that extra, you know, competition level is going to change it a little bit. Like I say, I still think he's going to do good. It's not that I'm thinking he's going to do bad, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be as much of a cakewalk as what some of you boys, I think some of you boys think that he's going to go out there and get the exact same kind of results that he got in Supercross this year in outdoors or better. I'm not really buying into that. I think it's going to be close to that, but I think there's going to be more like fifths, you know, sixth, seventh place kind of finishes. That's a big daddy jump, bro. I think there's going to be more of that in outdoors just because you got to get, you know, if you don't get as good of a start, you know, having that extra competition level there, it just makes a difference. I mean, you just think about how Deegan's results would have been in Supercross had it been the East and the West Coast combined every single round. He wouldn't have been on that podium as much as he was. I can promise you that, bro. Yeah, people talk about Deegan, you know, beating dudes like Jeremy Martin in Supercross a bunch, like that's like some big deal or something. When the hell has Jeremy Martin ever been that good at Supercross? Hello? He won 2 Pro Motocross championships like 69 years ago. Some of y'all boys need to settle down a little bit. You really do. Like, yes, Deegan is fast. He's good. He's a lot of things, but he's not... I still don't think he's like to some crazy full-blown championship contender. I'm just not seeing it. I think it kind of ended up that way in Supercross by the very end because of the different dudes that crashed out, like Thrasher, and then that round where Deegan got into it with Jordan Smith, right? But I certainly think that Jordan Smith and Thrasher were on another level than Haiden Deegan was. And had they been able to stay in it like they were, I just don't think it would have seemed like Deegan was as good as what it made him seem like. Do you see what I'm saying? When, you know, all that competition crashes out like that, Mitch Payton basically had nobody in that coast on 250 Kawasaki, so it wasn't like Deegan was really having to race that much with any of the Cowie boys. I mean, yeah, Joe Shimoda was in there at the very end, but when you really sit down and think about it, there was not a whole lot of competition there. Like, there really wasn't. I mean, if you go back and look, like, there's a lot of dudes that, like, I barely even knew their names finishing behind Haiden Deegan. A lot of times it was really hard to find somebody that was an actual, like, you know, a household motocross name in Supercross in Deegan's coast this year that finished behind him without them having a crash or something like that. You know, like, seriously though, that's that Spency boy truth that some of you boys, you just don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. Yes, there was times where Deegan straight up beat like Jeremy Martin a few times. Yes, there was, but there wasn't a whole lot of times I felt like Deegan just like absolutely dominated, or like something that would tell me that he's going to go out there and really be like a championship contender in pro motocross this year. I'm just not seeing it. Like, I'm looking at him more like he's going to be like a top 5 guy. You know what I'm saying? About like a top 5 kind of guy. Yeah, he can get up there on the podium. I'm not going to lie to you. It would shock me a little bit if Deegan got up there and was able to get like a win a moto or win an overall. That would actually surprise me a little bit if he did that this year. I think that's a little more of the realistic kind of expectation from Deegan. Just kind of that top 5, area. And, like, yes, he's had the speed. Yes, he's had some good starts. But, like, when you really sit down and look at it, yeah, if you want to talk about Deegan just being like a, some random, like, rookie that wasn't all that hyped up or whatever, just like an everyday rookie coming into it, yeah, he's done above and beyond amazing. But the second you start looking at it, like comparing him to the actual real championship contenders, like a Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, Joe Shimoda, some of those different guys like that, when they're in tip-top shape and they're not going down, they're not crashing, I think it's a real challenge for Haiden Deegan to really finish ahead of those particular caliber of riders. Those particular guys that are on that next level, you know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people have it in their head like Haiden Deegan is already on that kind of level. I think he's right under that level. That's what I'm trying to say with this video. I think Haiden Deegan is right under that real championship contender type level. And I think it's basically going to be next year until we really see Haiden Deegan, full-blown, like, actually really that championship contender kind of caliber. I just think it's going to be next year before we see that. That's my opinion on it. Definitely let me know down in the comments. Spency Boy telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. As always, I understand if you're a Deegan fan. I'm a Deegan fan. I like the kid. He's hauling ass. He's going fast. He is crashing a lot. I think if he has some of those same kind of crashes, but they're high speed and outdoors, may not necessarily turn out so good for him, but he was able to crash in outdoors really hard last year and get out of it. About like that right there, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Maybe he's got the gift of James Stewart where they can just crash really hard and barely ever get injured. Maybe so. I don't know. That's a possibility. But yeah, my prediction, my thoughts, I think Deegan's going to be like a top 5 kind of guy. He'll probably get on the podium, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of the rounds, maybe a little more than that, but I don't think he's going to be like a podium guy every weekend like he started to get in Supercross towards the end. I don't think he's going to be really that much up there like that, but I do think he will get some podiums. It would shock me if he actually gets a moto win. It would actually shock me a little bit, but yeah, I think he's just like right there on that cusp of being, a real championship contender. Like I say, I still think it's going to be more like 2024 before we really see that full-blown Haiden Deegan running with any of the fastest guys for a full-blown main event or a full-blown moto. He can run with them for a minute. You know what I'm saying? We even saw that in Supercross. Like, he can run with them for a minute, but as far as a full main event or a full moto, that's where I think it's going to catch up to him a little bit. So, either way, man, that's just the Spency Boy's opinion on it. I appreciate you guys watching all the videos, and I'll see you boys on that next one. Later, dudes.